Hey everybody, I thought I might come on here and do a little devotion with you guys, which I know this might sound cliche, but I actually was thinking about Ephesians 2:8-9, which says this: For by grace are you saved through faith, and this is not of your own doing. It is a gift of God, not a result of works, so no one may boast. So recently, I have been reading through Leviticus. That is a book that some people can't even read. It's apparently too boring or something, but I did read it. There was a lot of parts that were boring, but what the entire book of Leviticus was about was all the laws that the Israelites had to follow. And then if they didn't follow them or they committed a sin, they would have to be cleansed, they would have to sacrifice, or they would be stoned, they'd be cut off from the line. It was crazy. But think about that for a minute. Think about Leviticus and the old laws. People had to strive. I love it at the end. I get geeked out every time I see that last part in verse 9. It says, not a result of works, so that no one may boast. So no one may boast. You know, the Pharisees, when the Pharisees in Jesus' time, when Jesus was on the planet, the Pharisees always put themselves on a high pedestal. Why? Because they always thought, they were always boasting of how great they are, and they kept condemning other people. They kept putting themselves higher, putting themselves on top of the ladder, as I say, and putting people at the bottom of the ladder because they were not good enough. They thought they prayed well enough. So it was all about the old law because you had to keep that law in order to gain salvation. But think about this. Ephesians 2:8-9 talk about how we are saved by grace and saved by faith. No longer is that old law necessary. Jesus came, and when Jesus came and died on that cross, the new covenant was established that all we have to do is come to Jesus and say, God, I'm a wretched sinner. I don't deserve your mercy. I don't deserve your grace, but you give it to me anyway. So are we like an everyday Pharisee? And do we recognize, hear this, do we recognize that it says a result of works? You know, a lot of the time we think that we have to do good works to get to heaven, and that's what the old law was about. It's not about good works anymore. Good works produce character. They do not define our salvation. Let me say that again. Works define our character. They do not define our salvation. So yes, we should do good works. I'm not saying never do good works. No, do good works. Honor your parents, talk to your friends, be loving and kind to one another. And when something happens that you know is sinful, then you can point it out in love, saying, hey, that's probably not a good idea what you're doing. You know, all these things, good works is necessary, but it is not a requirement for salvation. For example, the thief on the cross, a lot of people think that you have to be baptized. The baptism saves you. No, it does not, because if you look on the thief on the cross, Luke 23, read Luke 23 about the crucifixion of Jesus. It talks about in detail how one of the thieves on the cross looked at Jesus and said, Jesus, you are the Son of God, and I believe. Would you please remember me? Please remember me when you come into your kingdom. What does Jesus say? Today you will be with me in paradise. As he was on the cross, he couldn't get down and go to church and read a couple verses and hopefully be saved and be baptized. No, he couldn't do any of that. He was on a cross about to die in a couple of hours. And he gave his life and he was saved on that cross. That is saying that Jesus is the only way, truth, and life. Baptism shows our faith in Jesus. We're not afraid about Jesus. And works are the same way. They show our character about Jesus, or show our character about being a Christian, a disciple for God. But they are not a result for salvation, for getting us into heaven. Jesus already paid the price with his blood. We don't need to follow any critical works to get to heaven. That was the old covenant. Now we're under the new covenant, where all we have to do is come to Jesus and say, God, I need you. And then when we fall short, you know, every day, I'm a Christian and I fall short every single day. And I heard my pastor say this: we can be 1% better tomorrow than we were today. Or let's take that opportunity of being 1% better this hour than the last hour. So we don't have to be 50% better. We can be 1% better. Just saying Jesus is Lord. He's the only way, truth, and life. And staying in God's word, that's all we need. So what are you holding on to? Are you claiming to Jesus, clinging to Jesus, saying, We are saved by faith, saved by grace, no longer of works. Those are necessary, but they're not a result of salvation. They are a action of our character. They are actions of our character. That is what Ephesians 2:8-9 talk about.